Hello, welcome to another Frog Popstar video. Today is the long promised hunter builds. So the reason we're talking about hunter builds right now is they had this munitions expert enchant changed, and with it they kind of had to rework hunters in a lot of ways because this made steady shot cast faster, which really affected Locust Ranger and compound power among other things. So anyway, they've gone and given hunter builds quite a bit of buffs, which is good. You didn't really see too much of them aside from the Arcane gunslinger, which it even actually got some buffs pretty recently. Fixed some of the it had some scaling issues that were making it pretty bad, but it's been buffed. So that's what we're talking about them today. So first I want to get out of the way the different hunter archetypes that you can play on here. A lot of these have some enchants, but they're not completed. Like the Frost Archer doesn't really work because there's no legend enchant for it that really makes it work. The Shadow Archer, there's no Hunter plus Shadow Priest Affliction Warlock spec that really works well. There is Secret Technique, which is the Shadow Dance Rogue ability plus Hunter, but that's like it's really more of an ambush build, and it's unique, and I guess it is a hunter build, but it's got a lot of focus on ambush. It's not like shadow magic or anything. There's the Fire Archer. This one's really close to being good. I might cover it in a more like a for fun builds kind of video, but right now it's not great because it doesn't have a real legend enchant. It doesn't have a way to proc Hot Streak, which makes it quite bad, I think. So I wouldn't really mess with that. But now on to the three we're actually going to cover today. We're going to start with the Nature Archer, which is Locust Ranger. So some things with Locust Ranger. It was okay before. You saw a lot more of it last season, but it's been buffed quite a bit. I think the changes they've made to it have made it a lot less clunky. I think it's really, I liked it before, but I think it's really playing well now. This is Locust Ranger. Yeah, this Locust Shot firing the Locust Shot triggering the instant wrath is a lot better than when it was Wild Quiver, even though that kind of hurts some other builds. But with this, it's just I feel like it's a lot more reliable, and the build goes a lot smoother. But I like this build quite a bit. But let's talk about it a little bit. I'm going to have the link to the build for it down below, but you want to start with Auto Shot, Serpent Sting, Wrath, and Aspect of the Hawk. There's really not too much leeway. I mean, Aspect of the Hawk is really the best thing you can get at this level. None of the other blues or epics really benefit it that much. And of course, this is if you're doing the wild card server is what this is for. And your skill card, you must have Chimera Shot. It's mandatory to the build. It's the only thing that's really hard to get that this build is an essential for. So Chimera Shot's mandatory. You need to use a skill card on it. Other good skill cards you could pick up are Insect Swarm and Steady Shot, although those are commons, so you will probably roll them on their own anyway. But if you don't have any other good cards, just roll them. If you've got good skill cards though, Poison and Rockbiter is what I would recommend. Like if you had a gold or something. So yeah, I do Chimera Shot and either Poisons or Rockbiter, whichever one you have. I think Rockbiter is actually going to give you a little bit more DPS than Poisons, but really ideally you want all three because you can apply Poisons to the bow. So that's it for that build. Like I said, the build for that's going to be in the description. Next we have Arcane Gunslinger. And Arcane Gunslinger is really good. Well, I guess actually another thing on that Locust Ranger before I move on from it is it does quite well in every scenario. Like it does pretty good in BGs, it does pretty good in arenas. I enjoyed playing it, both of them there, and it does pretty well in PvE as well. So it's really very safe build to play. You probably are not going to be number one DPS, but it's not bad at all. Raids are not going to be turning you down because you're playing it or anything like that. So really good build, really versatile build, very good candidate for a main. Anyway, now Arcane Gunslinger, which Arcane Gunslinger has the highest DPS of these builds, at least in the gear that I was testing them with. It's a bit different than these other ones. Arcane Gunslinger is more of a hybrid. The build for this is down in the description. Really important enchants for for it though. Versatile power, this is really where the strength of the spec comes from. Versatile power gives you a ton of stats. Get 3 of this. This is huge. Really gives you a huge damage. But the Arcane Gunslinger, it is definitely more of a PvE spec. It does a lot better on bosses and stuff than it does on trash mobs, because it wants to, it's got debuffs it wants to stack on the target. In PvP, it's okay. The debuffs have a pretty short duration, so if you get CC'd or something, you're probably going to lose your stacks, which can make it a bit clunky to play in PvP. So I played it in BGs where I thought it was fun, and then I played in Arena, I didn't like it near as much. So I think it's a very good spec. This is a very good candidate for a main as well, but it does, I think, struggle a bit more in kind of like the 1v1s and arenas and stuff if you're trying to PvP with it, but it's very impressive in PvE, huge DPS right now. And the last one, which is kind of what the build this character has right here is on, is the Compound Power, which also got a ton of buffs. Oh, the Arcane Gunslinger, totally skipped this part. You want to start with Auto Shot, Arcane Missiles, Arcane Shot, and Aspect of the Hawk. And some good skill cards. Arcane Shot and Aim Shot are both mandatory. So if you don't have both of those cards, don't play the spec. Unless, of course, you're on free pick, then, doesn't matter. But Arcane Barrage, Aim Shot, mandatory. If you have gold cards, Rockbiter and Arcane Power, believe it or not, are both quite good for it. If you have gold cards that you want to spend on the spec. But still, Arcane Barrage, Aim Shot, completely mandatory. You absolutely must have those if you're going to play the spec. If you don't have them, just skip this or be ready to reroll your character several times. Anyway, now onto the Compound Power, which Compound Power is basically the classic marksmanship hunter, except it's got like this combo point thing on it, but basically it plays like Wrath of the Lich King marksman hunter. So if that's your kind of way to play, then I think you'll enjoy it. It does pretty well in PvP. This character right here is not running the build that I linked below. This is like, I didn't have the right enchants on this server for it, because I'm playing, this is my, one of my characters from an older season actually. I tried to play like a little bit of a hunter agility kind of build long ago, and that's where this character comes from. But you can see his gear here. There's some level 60 pieces. This is a level 14 piece. Okay, oof, I didn't even notice I was wearing that, but so yeah, his gear is really not very impressive, and he is running a version of this spec. But the version I have down below, I think is a little bit more, it's a little more stable. I think it works a little bit better. This is kind of like a one-shot build I was trying in PvP, which it does blast people, so something to kind of think about. But the build down below, I think, it's a more reasonable build. So Compound Power, it's quite good right now. You want to start Auto Shot, Aspect of the Hawk, Sinister Strike, and Slice and Dice. And the reason you start Sinister Strike is so you can roll Slice and Dice, and there's no way to get rid of Slice and Dice. To get rid of Sinister Strike right away, but as soon as you're able to get rid of Sinister Strike, you don't actually need it for this build. You just need it for Slice and Dice in order to roll Slice and Dice at level 1. So yeah, Auto Shot, Hawk, Sinister Strike, Slice and Dice. Anyway, and your cards. I would card Aim Shot, and then you can run the Chimera Shot or the Black Arrow version of this build. Chimera Shot's been buffed quite a bit. If you're running Chimera Shot, you definitely want to make sure you get to roll Serpent Sting later on. Serpent Sting's a common, and a low-level common at that, so it should be no problem getting it. Black Arrow is quite good. And some other good options. Steady Shot, if you don't really have like the Black Arrow, Chimera Shot cards. Aim Shot is a mandatory card though, so don't play this build if you don't have Aim Shot at the very least. Rockbiter is good for all hunter builds, and poisons are pretty decent as well. So those are cards to be thinking about. And also, I didn't do this version of the build down below, but you can run Focus Burst plus Multi-Shot and get the REs for Multi-Shot. This has been nerfed pretty hard, but it's still quite good. I think at higher gear levels, it might inch out the build I have down below. I'm not really too sure on that, as my hunter character is not super geared, and finding information on these hunter builds was pretty difficult, so. But I think it is pretty good. I guess I'll show you real quick the little meme build. As you can see, this gear is really horrible, but we do a little meme here. Which if you saw my you saw my gear just now, this is really these are really pretty high numbers we're hitting on this guy for how bad the gear is. But anyway, yeah, these hunter builds, really good. Something to consider. Yeah, 8.2k on a you know, character who's got boots like this. 84 item level. Like, it's pretty insane. But the way I was doing that is this improved steady shot thing, and I've got the sniper RE and the sniper training and the armor piercing slugs. So if you kind of want to play like try a one-shotter in PvE, it's pretty good. There's some other things you can do, like another little secret sauce to one-shotting is getting stealth and master subtlety. But you know, a few ways you can boost your damage, and of course I've got all these buffs which are kind of supplementing my bad gear, but still, yeah. So these are pretty interesting builds. I think if you play Hunter right now, you will be pretty satisfied, and it feels pretty good to play. And of course, it does good DPS. But anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. The next video we're doing, I think I'm going to do hybrids. I've been saying I'm going to do hybrids for a while, and I know everyone kind of wants it. I also think I'm going to you know, do a video about some kind of fun builds, some meme builds, which I kind of just showed you a meme build, so we'll probably talk about this again. But anyway, that's all for today. You know, like and subscribe and leave me a comment. That would be wonderful. See you next time.